Hello, everyone, and welcome to not only the official album review for Blackpink's latest The Album. This is the first and of its kind. This is going to be our album reaction reviews going forward. So if you've been watching our listening parties for the past few weeks, you know that we've been changing up the format a little bit. The listening parties are literally just a first reaction. I'm listening to the song for the first time, but to give these songs and to give the songwriters and the composers the credits that they deserve, it takes more than one listen to truly fully appreciate a song and to dissect it. It takes more than 2 to 10 listens. It might require even 3 listens. I do those listening parties. They're just first reactions. And then I take like a whole week, just kept listening and listening and listening to this album on repeat. Been taking notes very methodically, I might add, to give you a thorough and full comprehensive album review. I know that most people come to my listening parties just for the reaction. And so my decision to split up the reaction and the reviews was also because when I'm doing these reactions, I feel rushed and panicky, and my first impressions of a song are not my opinions on that song. It's just a first impression. And it's like with life. You shouldn't hold people and you shouldn't hold songs to the standard of your first impression. You should allow that song to grow, because a song you didn't like in the beginning, you might love later. And some of those songs happened literally on this album. Some of the songs that I've listened to that I had a reaction for, even music video reactions for, I have a completely different opinion and feeling on it because of this album review. Okay, so first up, we have an 8-track album. We have How You Like That, Ice Cream, Pretty Savage, Bet You Wanna, Lovesick Girls, Crazy Over You, Love to Hate Me, and You Never Know. Now, a lot of criticisms I've been hearing about this album is, how is 8 tracks even considered an album, especially given that we've already seen 2 music videos for the songs on this album. They've already been issued as singles. Well, just because something was issued as a single doesn't make this album 6 tracks. It's still 8 tracks. And yes, ordinarily you need usually like a 30-minute runtime on an album to be considered a studio album. But I heard that, they even took off songs from the album because they thought it didn't fit the aesthetic of the album. And I would rather have a package that is more neatly packed rather than just having a large discography. Now, I know a lot of fans might disagree with that, and that is completely understandable. That's just wanting more music. But purely from an artistic and professional standpoint, I understand why. There are so many K-pop EPs where, honestly, songs are just jumbled in. They just threw in whatever. They were like, all right, we're going to have a ballad here, and then we're going to have a crazy EDM dance track here, and then we're going to have this rock song here, and there's no cohesion to the album. Part of what makes these listening parties sometimes difficult is the albums feel so erratic, and the albums that I truly, really do enjoy are the ones that sort of take you on a journey, where the song choices were a little bit methodical, and the direction of the album was a little bit more purposeful. And I think Blackpink's The Album, in terms of the soundscape of the album, is perfect as it is. I think literally the track placement is perfect as it is. I think ending on You Never Know, which is probably their most different sounding sound, having that be the closer for the album was perfect. And we'll get into that in a little bit. In fact, let's start with the 2 singles that people are referring to, which is How You Like That and Ice Cream. Now, never in this world have I seen more vitriol and more negativity towards a song than How You Like That and Ice Cream. When Ice Cream came out, on my reaction videos for the music videos, in large part, the comments were negative. I do understand some of the critiques and criticisms going into it, but again, those are just first impressions. I said very purposefully in my reaction to How You Like That, you gotta be careful, because How You Like That is just a teaser. Ice Cream is just a single. It's a B-side, The way people talked so much shit about How You Like That and Ice Cream made it sound like Blackpink was ruining their career. Where if you consider it on, just consider it as, hey, they're B-sides that have music videos, then it's like, who gives a crap, right? But now, listening to this album, it completely recontextualized some of these songs for me. For example, some of the criticisms for How You Like That was the ending. The ending is so abrupt. It's like, What's the ending? The song feels so short. And yes, How You Like That does feel short. And yes, the ending is abrupt. But now, if you listen to How You Like That, if you listen to it again, you realize, oh, How You Like That, the reason it sounds the way it sounds is because it's the intro for the album. How You Like That plays in the most stereotypical ways for an intro. I'm surprised none of us realized it before. Even from the opening horns where it goes bump, 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 bump. Even that whole horn section, it doesn't fit with the rest of the song. And you realize they did that to give you a setup for the rest of the album. It gives you like this epic, grandiose feeling. And then you have the abrupt ending, which the abrupt ending, yes, listening to it when it first came out, when we were deprived of BLACKPINK content for like a year and a half, yes, it felt like this is all they have. But now, if you look back and if you consider this as, oh, this is just an album opener, you realize that's the whole point of the ending of How You Like That. The whole point of How You Like That is, I need to listen to the rest of the album. Have you ever had those albums where you're just like, I can't listen to just one song on this album. I have to listen to at least half the album. I'll admit, listening to BLACKPINK's The Album for the past week, I have never once just picked up a song and went, okay, I'm satisfied. Each listen through of the album warranted me at least listening to 3 or 4 songs. And that's on an 8-track album. And so How You Like That is designed to be the type of song that is meant to make you keep listening to the rest of the album. That's not to say the criticisms aren't warranted, but I feel like a lot of people were also holding How You Like That to the standards of a title track. And I feel like that wasn't fair. And Ice Cream, yes, Ice Cream isn't as smooth and it's a little bit messy, but I think Ice Cream is completely fine. Which brings me to the next 2 songs on the album, which I think are honestly just rehashes of the initial first 2. Pretty and Savage and Bet You Wanna. I'm going to go through each song individually, but Pretty Savage and Bet You Wanna sound like better versions of How You Like That. And Bet You Wanna sounds like a better version of Ice Cream. In fact, Bet You Wanna sounds like a Selena Gomez song, but we'll get into that later. I think Pretty Savage is the quintessential BLACKPINK song. If you were to ever pick a group and say, oh, what's a song that defines this artist? It's their whole package, you know? Like for me, I would say like Justin Timberlake is defined by Sexy Back or something like that. NSYNC is defined by Bye Bye Bye. I'm giving super outdated old references all relating to Justin Timberlake for some reason. But my point is, Pretty Savage by BLACKPINK is the most BLACKPINkiest of BLACKPINK songs that you can get. Because BLACKPINK is doing something that I never realized that they were doing, which is people would talk about their black side and their pink side, right? Their black side is their more hardcore hip hop stuff. Their pink side is their more K-pop, addictive, lighthearted pop stuff. I realized the reason why BLACKPINK has been so controversial is because it's been this tug and pull between 2 styles and concepts. And what the album does is that this entire album, there's not a single black song, there's not a single pink song. Every single song is a BLACKPINK song. In this album, they have somehow managed to combine the sweet, cute elements of K-pop and also add in that unbelievable, hardcore badassness, the black side of their discography, and they created their BLACKPINK stuff, which is what Pretty Savage is. Pretty Savage is the epitome of that. But Pretty Savage, if you translate it to Korean, it's Yepujanang Savage, which is saying, just to clarify, because people might mistake it, they're not saying, oh, I'm pretty savage or we're pretty savage. They're not using pretty as like that kind of an adjective. They're saying pretty as in pretty in like the most shallow sense of the word. So they're saying they're both pretty and they're both savage. They're literally speaking to the whole concept of BLACKPINK. We are both cute and pretty and we're savage. And so Yepujanang Savage is the epitome of that, and I think it represents their group and their album as a whole. I think Pretty Savage is one of the best tracks on this album. Has an incredible line. I don't think much people will appreciate this, but there's a verse in there from Jenny where she says, F boys, not my boys, saktuk saktuk. Yeah, whatever that line was, that shit is dope. And so Pretty Savage has some really, really standout moments, but the chorus really speaks to me because the chorus for Pretty Savage, honestly, no hate, but this is a rehash of How You Like That. The structure for Pretty Savage is the blueprint is lifted exactly from How You Like That, and they just redid it, but they made it better. How You Like That goes, how you like that, da 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 da. This one, they replace it with, ba da ba ba, you better run, run, run. And then there's Lisa's post-chorus, where she goes, look at you, now look at me, look at you, now look at me. Here, they replace it with, all my diamonds, they yellow or bright white. It's exactly lifted. It's exactly lifted. So How You Like That feels a little bit like an underdeveloped, rushed version of Pretty Savage. I think Pretty Savage is How You Like That in its most perfected form. So that's my opinion. And the ending for the song is perhaps where I'm a little bit divided, because as badass as Pretty Savage is, and because of the similarities of How You Like That, I was expecting another blown out outro. I was expecting another hype outro, except here they go for like a slowed down whistling tune where they go savage. I feel like that itself is a complete counter to what How You Like That's ending was, which just goes to show you that How You Like That fits better as an intro. And that slowed out outro, I think how it represents the song is the entire song. You have Jenny's rapping, you have Lisa's rapping. That entire song is incredibly impactful, super powerful. And then that outro is very slick and slow. The structure of the song is almost representing the title as well. There are rap portions. The entire song was the savage part. And then they have a very pretty and beautiful outro. So even in that sense, the song is constantly playing with things. Then we have Bet You Wanna. This is the song featuring Cardi B. And I've got to preface, I do not like Cardi B. I don't like Cardi B's music. I've never been into Cardi B in any way whatsoever. I love Bet You Wanna. Bet You Wanna. Most of the songs here are honestly 10 out of 10. But Bet You Wanna is a hard 10 out of 10. Okay? It's a hard 10 out of 10. First of all, let's talk about that Cardi B feature. Some people might not like it. And I understand. I completely understand. But this is as best of a K-pop feature you're going to get. Even if you didn't like Cardi B's feature, I think from an objective standpoint, this is one of the better K-pop features. I think Cardi B on Bet You Wanna was better than Sia on or Nicki Minaj doing Idol. I feel like Cardi B's rap feature was so much better than those two combined. The only thing better than this would probably be Harvey and NCT Dream or RM and Wale. I can't be sure about Harvey and NCT Dream, but RM and Wale, that was not a feature. That was a collaboration, which are two different things, mind you. And so we can't always hold it to the same standard. Like we can't hold RM and Wale's collab to Nicki and BTS's collab because those weren't collabs. Nicki was a feature, you know? They walk in a sound booth, they do their thing, they bounce, and you really have no control over what that's going to come out and sound like on Nicki's end. Wale, I'm sure, had a heavy hand in the collaboration and production of that. Now, so with that said, Cardi B, you know, this is just a feature. Just stepped into the booth, did her lines, and that's it. And as far as K-pop rap features are going to go, that's as good as you're going to get. There's too much of a difference, and there's a whole ocean apart. Whereas in K-pop, I think we get some of the best collabs. Mind you, in America, in general, features are pretty lame. The Nicki and Sia features were lame, but not surprising because features have, you know, kind of been lame in American pop. But there are some times where there are really good, genuine collaborations. And in K-pop as well, I feel like there are really, really good collaborations. But that's also because everyone's like a 30-minute car ride away from each other. You know, in Korea, they actually have the time to actually sit down and collab and really put out quality material. It's not to say they always collab like that. So yeah, Bet You Wanna is surprisingly one of the best songs on the album for me personally. Now, what I don't understand is why was Selena Gomez not on this song? In fact, I almost feel like they wrote Ice Cream and they wrote Bet You Wanna, and they kind of had to decide. I feel like it was narrowed down to which song do we want to do a collab with Bet You Wanna and Ice Cream, and then I think they ultimately decided on Ice Cream. But Bet You Wanna not only stylistically really fits Selena, and not only is the song in her range, but the whole pre-chorus. Who does the pre-chorus in Bet You Wanna? I should have done research on this. With all my notes, I didn't even look into that. But whoever does the pre-chorus on Bet You Wanna, which I have to assume it's either Jenny or Rose, that pre-chorus already sounds like Selena Gomez. I'm not kidding you. I legitimately heard that, and then I had to pull up my phone and go, oh, Is Selena Gomez featuring on this song with Cardi B? No. I think what they did really well was, whether it's Jenny or Rose, during that pre-chorus, they have this section where they kind of like break their voice. Like they go really high and it becomes squeaky and it kind of breaks a little. That is a very Selena Gomez type of riff. And I feel like they were able to emulate that really, really, really well. Bet You Wanna is amazing. And I love that pre-chorus because that pre-chorus is really, really fast. It has this sense of urgency. And then I feel like the chorus has such a bigger payoff because of it. Something na 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 na. That part in the chorus sounds so guttural. You know, it's like I have to assume that was Rose, but it sounds like she's singing with like all her soul when she does that. I love Bet You Wanna because of that. So I really, really, really love Bet You Wanna. I think that tension build up from the pre-chorus to that really astounding release for the chorus is one of my favorite things. Then we have Lovesick Girls, which is where we're about to get into the controversial part of the video. I don't like Lovesick Girls as much as I thought I did. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I don't mean it in the sense that, oh, I hate it now or I like it less now. It's just that I thought I loved this song. Turns out I don't love this song. I like it, but something about this song was bothering me and I couldn't quite put my hand on it. Now, there are electronic parts of the song that I thought was so familiar. And I was like, what is this? What does this remind me of? Why does this sound so nostalgic? And people were like, oh, it's because David Guetta worked on the song. And okay, I can understand that. David Guetta definitely brings that dance electronic influence. But there was something about it that still felt so outdated. And I realized, oh, this is a Big Bang song. Lovesick Girls, bear with me. Lovesick Girls is an old Big Bang song. Lovesick Girls is like an old Big Bang Fantastic Baby Tonight era electronic song. Changed my mind. That whole, especially the rap section, the second verse rap section with Lisa's phenomenal rapping, Jenny's rapping, those rap sections, there's like this electronic element, which I was like, what does that remind me of? And I realized, oh, it's Big Bang. It's Big Bang. Which made me realize what YG's plan for BLACKPINK is. I finally figured out the mold, the master plan behind YG's marketing with BLACKPINK, which I'll get to at the end of the video. But Lovesick Girls, I like it a lot, but I thought it had like an 80s influence to it, but that's not the case. Lovesick Girls has more of a 2010s pop influence. I've seen some references to, I would say Big Bang. Some people have referenced Iconopop. I think it's absolutely that genre of like, I don't want to say Tayo Cruz. That makes me sound too old because a handful of the people watching this video is going to go, who's Tayo Cruz? And I'm like, exactly. But it sounds very much like old school 2010s pop. That's what I mean by I don't like it as much. I thought I loved it because I was like, oh my God, this sounds like an 80s synth song, but that's actually not the case. It's more of a 2010s electronic song, which don't get me wrong. I love that genre of music, but it kind of sort of changed my mind on it. And I will say, if we're being honest, that's how good these B-sides are. Excluding the singles, the new B-sides, I think every B-side on this album is better than the title track. And that is so rare. And that doesn't mean that the title track is bad. That just means the production for the B-sides on this album are so good. Very rarely does every single B-side on the album put the title track in the back burner for me. I will say, the one song that I skip on this album is Lovesick Girls. And you guys might be like, how could you skip Lovesick Girls? How could you skip that? And because the reason why I skip Lovesick Girls is because after Bet You Wanna ends, my brain immediately goes, Crazy Over You is next. And so I skip Lovesick Girls to get to Crazy Over You because Crazy Over You, oh my God, this song, my guys, gals, and my non-binary pals, this song is amazing. Now, for the people who didn't catch on to it immediately, handful of people, some people noticed, some people didn't, but Crazy Over You is very much a horror / Halloween inspired song. It's a spoopy song. Soupy? What? It's a spoopy song, okay? It's I mean, first of all, from the lyrics of I've got to just have you all to myself, the lyrics are incredibly obsessive. The lyrics are incredibly, honestly, not a positive message. You know, it's about someone who's obsessed and dangerous and who's willing to go to any lengths to make you theirs and solely theirs. But I love that chorus. That chorus, for the first time, if you watch my listening party, threw me off. I did not understand what the hell that chorus was. You know, it has like those just suddenly like dun dun. It's just so intimidating. It's so dramatic. And it's so like out of nowhere. I was so confused for the longest time listening to that. And then what finally made me understand was the bass, the womp, 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 womp. And then Jisoo's iconic E. They are all nods to horror references. From the big, booming, sudden, dramatic chorus to that creepy bass sound. People call it a false drop. That creepy bass sound reminds me a lot of like Irene and Sergei's Monster, you know, in a good way. And then Jisoo's E. I read this one person breaking it down saying like, E is actually referring to the street drug ecstasy. And they're talking about how like the love is so good, it makes them feel like they're high on ecstasy. And I was just like, what? No, it's not. It's not. It's very much a nod to like the horror reference of like screaming the ease. It was a very strange reach, but that's why I felt like I had to point it out. I'm like, this is a Halloween song. Like, okay, if you guys didn't notice before, that's completely fine. It took me like my third listen to even notice. Re-listen to the song under the context that this is a horror-inspired song. Once you do that, I think that'll completely change your mind. But then we come to Love to Hate Me, which shucks might be the best goddamn diddly song I ever did here, because oh my god, Love to Hate Me has got to be either the or one of the most catchiest songs on this album. I'm going to go so far as to say Love to Hate Me might be one of the catchiest BLACKPINK songs. Controversial, I know. I know. It's just that good. Let's talk about it. I really love the pre-chorus because the pre-chorus offsets the chorus and sets it up really well. The love, 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 and then it cuts into that false drop. I can't remember the lyrics. It's like something, maybe, blah, 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 blah. And then it picks right back up into the hook, which is the hook is so catchy. And it's in full English too, which I have a whole thing to say about full English songs after this. But the pre-chorus offsets so well and so confusing to me as to what it reminded me of. And now I realize it. Like I literally realized this yesterday. That pre-chorus, or the first part of the chorus, that sounds so much like Ariana Grande. Does it not? Doesn't that section remind you of Ariana Grande's Seven Rings? It's definitely not copyright infringement, but feels very inspired. Feels very inspired by it. But then we got to talk about the hook. Love, 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 love. That hook reminds me of another artist, not as popular as Ariana Grande, but this is a great suggestion for you. If you love BLACKPINK, and I never realized that this artist made music that's kind of like up BLACKPINK's alley. If you love Love to Hate Me and you want to hear more songs like Love to Hate Me, check out Kim Petras, because this song oozes Kim Petras vibes, which is it has like this kind of like bittersweet, twisted, kind of like there's like a dark sensibility, but it's also like a super catchy pop song. It's amazing. Lisa's rap during the bridge was hella badass. Lisa in general on this album, let's talk about Lisa for a sec. This is going to be the Lisa section of the video. Lisa's rap portion during Love to Hate Me, the Southside LA in her jumped out. When she started rapping, I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck is going on with Lisa? But that's Lisa throughout a majority of this album. This is no offense to Lisa, but I never considered Lisa to be the best rapper in BLACKPINK. I thought that was Jennie. That was my opinion. But listening to this album and looking back at their entire discography, I think Lisa is the better rapper. I think Jennie is more versatile. I think Jennie is a really amazing rapper, but she can also sing. So she splits it two ways. But Lisa, purely as a rapper, Lisa, I think, is better. And I realized why I never thought that. And this is no offense to YG, but they gave Lisa kind of, I wouldn't say shit lines. Lisa has never rapped shit lines. Compared to this album, compared to everything else, her previous raps were too K-poppy. if that makes sense. This album sounds like legit rapping. Pretty Savage, Love to Hate Me. This is the album where, Lisa actually got to fuck around as a rapper. Like, I feel like one of the key differences between BLACKPINK and, let's say, other YG artists like iKON, Big Bang, Winner. Let's be honest. I feel like YG restricts BLACKPINK a lot more than they do with the guys. If you listen to Bobby, B.I., GD, Top, Mino, if you listen to the rappers in YG, they get to play around a lot with their rapping. And I never quite understood why Lisa or like why BLACKPINK never necessarily got that chance. And I think it's just in general because BLACKPINK is so tightly managed compared to everybody else. And we'll get into that at the end of the video. There's a very good reason why BLACKPINK is managed like that. But after listening to this album, I realized, oh my God, Lisa is like a genuine rapper. Someone said it's the misogyny for me. I don't think it's misogyny. Mind you, I haven't seen anything. So if you guys have seen something, maybe that's different, but I'm going to give you a reason why BLACKPINK is managed that way. But I thought Lisa's rapping was incredible. I really like the harp plucking in Love to Hate Me. The little harp plucking. At least I think it's a harp. I could be wrong. Guys, let me know if I'm completely wrong on that. But I loved, like, Love to Hate Me is a mix of, it's both delicate, both gentle. I feel like parts of the song are very delicate and gentle, but it's that chorus, you know, when it finally gets into that love, love, and then you've got like the pads coming in, it sounds so much more dramatic, so much heavier. It's just a good song. Now, the last song on the album, You Never Know by BLACKPINK. This song, first of all, speaking of harps, the opening for You Never Know, is it just me? Or does the opening for You Never Know sound very similar to Jenny's solo? The only difference between the opening for solo and You Never Know is the difference is like one's a harp, one's a piano. But they sound very similar. I gotta say, You Never Know, one of the best pre-choruses. The build-up in this pre-chorus, Rosé. Listen, I know Rosé is a phenomenal singer, but this is one of those moments where I was like, oh my God, Rosé is a phenomenal singer. The pipes on that lady. All right, when her voice first comes in, you never know. My favorite part of the song, though, is this one small hook where they go, that part right there. It's an amazing hook. But this song sounds so much like Big Bang. It sounds like that classic, sad Big Bang song. And I can imagine Taeyang and Taesung doing several of these parts. And I mean that in a very complimentary way. The way this was written, it sounds very much like Loser, Last Dance. Big Bang occasionally has these random slow pop ballads, and that is the path for this one. I like this a lot more than Stay. I think for me, Stay was a little bit too slow, and what I like about You Never Know, and honestly, I'm gonna give it up to Rosé, it's Rosé's voice. Rosé, and perhaps the song in general, no, it's the song in general, it's not just Rosé's voice, because even Jenny's singing, when they say, you never know, there's so much emotion filled up into their singing. In fact, one might be remiss to assume that some of the elements of this song might be personal to them, because it was... For me, it sounded very, very emotional. Part that I really, really liked, this is also like a very Big Bang-esque type thing. Lisa's rapping. There's a portion in Lisa's rapping, I believe, in the second verse where she goes, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then she ends her rap line where they auto-tune like the wall, where she goes, to the wall. But like she's rapping and then she ends it on like a sing-songy note. That is so good. That's so good. That's like the type of thing I think Topper GD would do. It's so good. It's so good. But the second best part, after the bridge, when the music cuts out and Rosé's voice comes in and those powerful violins come in, breathtaking is perhaps the only word I can use to properly describe the emotions I felt listening to that. Oh my God. That was so, it's the perfect level of music manipulation where they are manipulating your emotions by doing that. The way they just cut out the music and the violins are just so like, oh my goodness. You Never Know is amazing. It's amazing. And I got to give it like a 10 out of 10. Honestly, when it comes to this album, let me give you my ranking breakdown of each one. How You Like That, 8 out of 10. Ice Cream, 7 out of 10. Pretty Savage, 10 out of 10. Bet You Wanna, 10 out of 10. Lovesick Girls, 9 out of 10. Crazy Over You, Love to Hate Me, You Never Know, 10 out of 10. Very rarely have I listened to an album where I listen to the B-sides and like all the B-sides are perfect. Very rare. I've seen some comments, some people saying, this album wasn't for me, blah, blah, blah. And I get that. If you didn't like this album, I understand why you didn't like this album. Because so much of this album borrows from American pop across different generations. So much of this album is kind of inspired by 2010s American pop, in my opinion. You know, not just Lovesick Girls, but I would say Love to Hate Me. Love to Hate Me could easily be a 2010s pop song. Absolutely. I understand what YG is doing with BLACKPINK now, which is, I think there was such a huge gap in BLACKPINK's comebacks because I think YG, midway, they changed BLACKPINK's career. I think when they debuted BLACKPINK, they were like, let's debut a K-pop girl group. I think that was it. But I think halfway through, they saw the juggernaut appeal of BLACKPINK and they were like, we need to change this up. And the reason why BLACKPINK's sound has changed so much, and I think they've been slowly tweaking and perfecting it, is because they are trying to have BLACKPINK have global appeal. BLACKPINK is no longer a K-pop girl group. They are, or at least what YG is aiming for, is a global girl group. And I would say, honestly, if you don't like it, your criticisms are completely warranted. This is not your typical structure for K-pop songs. And there are plenty of other K-pop girl groups out there that are doing that brand of girl group music. So if that's what you're looking for, you should head on over there. But what I love about the album from BLACKPINK is nobody is doing it like this. Do they heavily borrow from Western influences? Absolutely. But they're not producing it like a Western pop song. Western pop songs, no offense, are super, super generic and boring. Here, they still keep the pretty active structure, the colorful structure of a K-pop song. I would say, like, a big reason why people are saying that it's, they're too Western, they're too American now, are a couple things. One, they say they're using too much English, which that's a weird, I'll get into why that's a weird thing to say. And then two is, like, the instruments. It's like, anytime someone hears a trap instrument, like, you know, the plastic sounding drums, someone's like, oh, this sounds too American. And it's like, I don't know, does it sound too American just because you use trap drums? Is that how that works? I don't think that's how that works. Music in general. People are saying like, oh, they're using too much English now. Oh, it sounds too Western pop, etc., etc. I don't think people know what K-pop actually is at its core. K-pop is a bunch of people appropriating from global music. That's K-pop. If it boils down to it, K-pop was just about taking stuff from other cultures' musics and then mishmashing it up into sort of a Frankenstein project and sort of unlocking like music can sound like this? K-pop breaks boundaries, absolutely. But it's hard to say that they're sounding more American because they're using trendy American instruments. I don't think that's how that works. Second is the English. Let's face it, this album... what, 80% of it was English? 90? You know, if we're being generous, let's say 80, right? They use 80% of English in this album. I'm gonna throw back at you what Chungha once said, which was something along the lines of like, Koreans listen to, some interviewer asked her, how do people understand K-pop? You know, it's Korean music. People don't speak Korean. And Chungha says, very thoughtfully, Koreans have been listening to American music forever. And they don't fully understand the language. They still listen to it. Music is universal, right? We use this defense for BTS. We use this defense for Monsta X. Anytime a K-pop group promoted in America, we would say, oh, I don't like them K-pop boys because they're speaking the Koreans. I'm sorry, I just like alienated like half of my Southern fans. But, you know, and your response and rebuttal to that would be, just because you don't understand the language doesn't mean you can't appreciate the music. So let's say we try to flippity-flip that. Why is it a bad thing that BLACKPINK is using English in their lyrics? When, one, they have two fluent English speakers. They have Rose and Jenny, who are straight up speak the English. And if language doesn't matter, if it being Korean, Chinese, or Japanese, if that didn't matter, then why does it matter when it's English? It's a double standard. It's a double standard. It's becoming this thing of like, oh, this thing that I liked and was kind of low key is becoming super mainstream. And I don't like that it's becoming mainstream. And I don't like that everybody is liking it. And so it's that kind of a reactionary thing to it. If you have a problem with BLACKPINK or any K-pop group like BTS singing Dynamite in all English, if you have any problem with that, that means your comment of language is universal is not true. And that means you're only listening to K-pop music because it's Korean. And you're also saying K-pop music is only defined by its Korean language. And by that proxy, you're saying, yeah, people like EXP Edition or other non-Korean people can show up, just start saying Korean words, and they'll be accepted into K-pop. Because that's what you're whittling down K-pop to. You're saying K-pop isn't about the training. It's not about the industry. You're saying it's about the spoken language, which means that theoretically anybody who is non-Korean could do K-pop, which is not true. So I just want to kind of put that to rest. That's my stance on all of that. Who gives up if BLACKPINK is using all English or if they're using Korean and English or all Korean? Like, at the end of the day, if music is really about music, why the fuck do we care that, one, they're doing it to market it to you, right? Like, they're doing it so that you could have a better time listening to it. I don't know what is this self-masochistic response to, like, I don't want this in English. I want it in Korean. That doesn't make sense. They did it for you. But I digress. I think BLACKPINK is ascending K-pop and American pop or Western pop. I think BLACKPINK, they are becoming a combination. I think the black is no longer like, oh, they're more hip-hop style music, and the pink is their more pop style music. I think for them, BLACKPINK is black combines Western pop elements, pink combines Korean pop elements, and BLACKPINK combines that together. And I think, in my opinion, we have the most cohesive westernized K-pop album we have ever gotten. Mind you, we don't get many, if at all. But I think BLACKPINK created the ultimate Western K-pop album. I don't even like having to frame it like that, but that's what they did. That's what they did. I think they have been sort of trying to find the path with Doo 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 Doo, Kill This Love. They've been trying to find a way to combine both elements. They leaned way more Western, but now I feel like Teddy has sort of figured it out. I think Teddy was playing the long game. And when they said BLACKPINK is the revolution, I don't think they were kidding. We're going to look back on this moment, and K-pop is going to change and evolve. And if it does, I think it's going to be because of people like BLACKPINK, who, you know, we for a long time, and I'll admit, I was one of those people who saw like catering to American audiences as selling out. But BLACKPINK is not catering to American audiences. BLACKPINK is catering to the world. And K-pop goes through different evolutions of music. It does. Every decade or so, K-pop changes. You know, there's the generation of idol groups themselves, and then there's the generations of the music, the style of music. Even if the idol generations change, sometimes the music doesn't change. I think we are on the precipice of a huge shift in K-pop music. I think once we see the success of this and other groups start trying it, going forward, this is going to be the type of K-pop Western style of music we're going to be getting. All right, with that said, to wrap up this video, for my review videos, to make it nice and tight, we're going to be doing segments. All right, so for my most replayed on the album is Pretty Savage and Love to Hate Me. Pretty Savage and Love to Hate Me are my two most replayed songs on the album. I cannot get over the incredible rap verses in Pretty Savage. It is incredible, powerful. It is so fun to listen to. But Love to Hate Me, man, that is like juicy pop music. I turned Italian for a second. But I think Pretty Savage and Love to Hate Me are like two sides of the perfect BLACKPINK coin. And so those are my two most replayed songs on the album. Next, MVP of this album. So obviously, all the members did an amazing job. I love Jennie, Jisoo, Lisa, and Rosé, but every album, every comeback, or instances like this, I will get an impression off of somebody where I would like, this person really, really surprised me and really killed it for me, this album. And for me, that award goes to Lisa. Lisa is the MVP of this album because I feel like this album was like Lisa Unleashed. I think all this time, Lisa was either getting better or practicing or she was being held back, and her rap game was on a completely different level this time around. Everyone did amazing. Rapper Chizu was fantastic. Vocalist Jenny was amazing. Rose was being Rose. It was amazing. But I feel like Lisa was the one member who truly took a spiked baseball bat to my head and murdered me in front of my friends. So MVP goes to Lisa. My favorite line, my favorite verse from the album. So my favorite verse from the album has to be still Jenny's line in Pretty Savage. Sometimes I even just go to Pretty Savage and I just replay that part over and over, where she says, F boys, not my boys, saktuk saktuk charum, which, if to translate that, she's saying, F boys, not my boys. Saktuk saktuk is like, it's like a onomatopoeia for like cutting. You know, she's saying snip snip, cut him out. So she's saying F boys, not my boys, snip snip, cut him out. And I just think like such a vicious line, but also she puts like, you know that thing Bobby from Icon does? You know how like when Bobby raps, Bobby always sounds like really, really kind of angry. You know, when Bobby's like, you know, Bobby has like that kind of like that weird tone. She does that tone like for a few seconds during the saktuk saktum part where she goes saktuk saktuk. I was like, oh my goodness. All the rappers got to play a lot this album. So that's my favorite line for this album. Catchiest hooks. The catchiest hooks on this album, the pre-chorus for Bet You Wanna and the main chorus for Love to Hate Me. I can't perfect recall the Bet You Wanna lyrics, but we all know the portion that we're talking about. The one, that part, so catchy. It's so catchy, I can't get it out of my head. And then Love to Hate Me, of course, that whole love, like that whole part is super, super addictive. So all in all, I got to give this album, I'm going to say it. This album is a 10 out of 10 with potential to be my album of the year. Potential album of the year. The only other album in the running right now is Blue My Z by IZ*ONE. Woo! Blue My Z by IZ*ONE is one of the best albums I've heard of this year, and it was one of the only best albums I'd heard of this year. And then this came out. So BLACKPINK's The Album is officially in the running for album of the year. For me, I give it a fat 10 out of 10. But that's it. That's my review for BLACKPINK's The Album. Thank you very much for watching and listening to my review for BLACKPINK's The Album. I would love to know, what did you guys think of the album? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, guys, I greatly appreciate all of your support. Thank you very much. We're trying something new with these album reviews, and as you can see, they are very exhausting and very tiring to make. I've been filming for an hour. It says an hour and 30 seconds. I don't know how long after this video has been edited it's going to be, but then that means it's going to take like at least 2 to 4 hours to edit it. It's like, it's going to be a whole thing, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you guys want to see more album reviews like these, more comprehensive reviews like this, I would love some feedback. So let me know in the comments down below. And once again, we greatly appreciate your support. If you want to support us, head on over to our Patreon, patreon.com/formatherapy. For as little as $2 a month, you get early access to videos. And for just a little bit more, we have live stage and variety show reactions. But supporting us monetarily is completely optional. You can go ahead and hit subscribe, be notified when we upload a new video by hitting that notification bell, and check out all our other videos over here. And I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.